A beautiful morning to you, Nigerians. Many thanks for joining us on U45 Morning Show, your magazine program that brings to you activities, of course, our current affairs activities in Nigeria and beyond. I'm Adenike Owoye Ajiboye, and I'm not here alone.
Welcome to the U45 Morning Show. It's so great to have you. Nikki, you're looking so smashing this morning.
Oh, really? Thank
Orange
you so
lady.
much. And you're looking like one white lady.
Oh, really? I guess it's the cameras. I'm Patience Willie. Welcome to the show.
All right, Nigerians, you know how we help drive your day on U45 Morning Show. We'll quickly go into the dailies to letting you know the major headlines on the dailies. And of course, we'll bring to you our hash trends and hashtags, and also on the main topic of discussion in our discussion segment, we will be looking at escalation of kidnapping in Nigeria. Of course, it's no news that kidnapping is spreading across the 36 states of Nigeria. What could be responsible and what are the possible solutions that government can consider at this moment in time? You're aware that last week or 2 weeks ago, some royal majesties, obas, were kidnapped even in south west, precisely in Ekiti State. And in Lagos State, it has also started since 2003. It's been rampant before now. We're talking about Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, being saved. But as we speak right now, even Abuja itself is no longer safe, as kidnapping seems to be the order of the day. And so, as members of the fourth estate of the realm, we cannot continue to watch men sit on the fence. We need to put government on their toes to deliver, to ensure that Nigerians are safe. So right about now, let's quickly go into the dailies.
The first newspaper for review is the Nigerian Tribune. And the major story says Nigerians spent $40 billion on foreign education, medical treatment in 10 years. CBN governor. This can be found on page 4. The writer says, spent $58.7 billion on travel allowance during same period. Another writer says, annual import declined from $66.05 billion in 2014 to $54.7 billion in 2023. Moving on to another writer, Forex from oil exports declined from $93.89 billion in 2011 to $31.4 billion in 2020. Another writer also says, reps tackle minister. CBN over economic downturn, says Nigerians hungry, angry. And that story can be found on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Moving on, Amotekun arrests 149 suspected criminals in Ondo. This can be found on page 28. Another story says, insecurity. Senate meets service chiefs today. The writer says, postpone session with CBN governor to Friday. Moving on, renewed hope turning to desperation. Catholic bishop tells Tinubu. This can be found on page 5. Another story says, Gbajabiamila, Ribadu, ministers meet, say government will unlock food in storage facilities. This can be found on page 4. Another story says, economic hardship. PDP tackles APC over claims. Opposition behind protests. And this can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Moving on, rising poverty endangers Nigerians' existence. SMBLF. This can be found on page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, Kogi Falls EFCC over charges against ex-Governor Bello. This can be found on page 3. And that's all I can take on the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, still staying with front page and 60%. And also down here, wholesalers, retailers not getting enough eggs due to supply shortage. And on the other side, you have per capita consumption of eggs in Nigeria in 60 eggs yearly compared to 250 to 300 eggs yearly. Well, it's advancing. I think you need to get a copy of this paper for you to look at it. And another headline here says, regional groups hinge coup on hardship, a failure of democracy. You find a story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Bishops and northern elders lament rising inflation, hardship, insecurity. You find a story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper, and that's exactly where we are, what we're also looking at, insecurity in Nigeria. Akpata denies being Obaseki's mole, distances herself from Edo Labour Party Secretariat of Violence. For more details, you find it on page 17 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria, Burkina Faso, for others to experience food crisis till May 2024. I'll find out who is talking, who is speaking about this. For more details, please check page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Following that directly, it reads, Naira a free fall. CBN blames a rising number of Nigerians schooling abroad, medical tourism. You find the story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. The reason for which Nigeria's currency has continued to fall. Kaduso is saying it is due to high number of Nigerians schooling abroad. NNPCL spends 267.98 billion naira on security as oil operators struggle. For more details, it is on the business page, page 15, precisely. Lagos TUC, others protest a ban on sachet alcohol, cites potential 500,000 job loss. For more details, you check page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. This is the union speaking right now about sachet alcohol. Another one here says MOUAU shuts down, orders immediate vacation of students from campus. What is the reason behind this? Could this also be insecurity? Find out more on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Still staying, well, that wraps it up on major headlines on the Guardian newspaper.
Moving on to the Punch newspaper, the major headline says, Nigerians spent $98 billion on foreign trips, education in 10 years. CBN. This can be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The writer says, CBN says it can't stabilize exchange rate alone, puts annual food imports at $15 billion. Another writer says, Senate summons Cardoso, grills CBN governor Friday over forex crisis, economic challenges. Moving on to another story, Tinubu returns, orders emergency meeting on food crisis. This can be found on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. And to another story, Naira weekends at official market. Banks sell $584 million, and that's on page 10 of the Punch newspaper. IOC withhold fresh investments over $13 billion debt, $13 billion debt, and this can be found on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on, kidnappers free slain Kwara monarch's wife. 13 suspects nabbed. This can be found on page 4 and 5. Moving ahead, customs seized 854 million naira vehicles, others in January. NCS. This can be found on page 11 of the Punch newspaper. And to another story, Dangote will list refinery fertilizer companies, NGX Group chair. Page 21 of the Punch newspaper. And then finally, FG vows end to insecurity as NAF unveils attack helicopters. Do yourself go to get this newspaper and get more stories.
And I'll stay with the Nation's newspaper. The major headline here says federal government, our economic policies yielding fruits. I bet you will be interested in reading this particular story. Government saying their policies is really working and producing positive results. Another headline here says Nigerians spend $40 billion on foreign education, healthcare, others. You'll find that story on page 6 of the Nation's newspaper. And following that directly, T129 ATAK helicopters join battle against insecurity in Nigeria. That story is on page 3 of the Nation's newspaper. Ladi Adebutu, others charged with money laundering. Kogi money not missing, state government tells Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC. The first story is on page 3, while the one following you'll find more details on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. This one says APC opposition throw brickbats over Mina Kanu protest. You find details on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. Still staying with the Nation's newspaper, front page headline that says no petrol supply issues. We're saying this. NNPCL then says Tinubu back from Paris. Oh, that's on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. Well, that of NNPCL you'll find on page 7 of the Nation's newspaper. And still staying with the Nation's newspaper, government to release food items from reserves to crash prices of food stuffs, commodities in the market. Let's see what the new team is doing. Maybe this can help indeed crash the prices of food items Nigerians have been complaining about. And finally, on the Nation's front page headline, there's a story on battling oil thieves. And another one says, Alake is Africa's mining minister's chair. That story is on page 6 of the Nation's newspaper. And following that directly it says Amotekun arrests 149 in Ondo. You find details of the story on page 5 of the Nation's newspaper.
And then moving on to the Daily Times. The front burner story says economic hardship and triggers protest in Niger. This can be found on page 3. The writer says it will soon be over, Mrs. Tinubu assures. Moving on, Naira strained by $2.4 billion invalid forest claims, Cardoso. Another story says data protection industry created 10,000 jobs in 2023. This can be found on page 3 of the Daily Times. Terrorism, court denies Fubora's loyalist bail. And another story says NAFDAC raises alarm on fake oxytocin injections in circulation. Moving on, Uganda's parliamentarians demand bigger, longer condoms. Wow, what a story. This can be found on page 5 of the Daily Times. And finally, states to get AFDB's $540 million agro-industrial loan. And that's all I can take on the Daily Times.
Daily Sun, a major headline, says FX crisis. Central Bank of Nigeria blames foreign students medical tourism. You find a story on page this page 25 of the Sun newspaper, and the writer says Apex Bank's governor says $40 billion spent on school fees and medicals abroad in 10 years. You want to find out more on that analysis. And another one says food crisis protest. President Tinubu, APC, politicizing hardship. This is according to the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And the writer says it's time to hit the streets. Oshun CSO speaking here. For more details, check page 26 of the Sun newspaper. And following that directly, it says Kogi tackles EFCC over probe of ex-governor Yahaya Bello. That story is on page 28 of the Daily Sun. TUC for Top protest closure of alcoholic sachet drink factories by NAFDAC. That story is on page 28. And I'm just wondering how they will be able to enforce this, because this alcoholic sachet drink is just everywhere. And now Tinubu lacks understanding of economic reforms. So we're speaking here. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. For details of this story, get the Sun newspaper. It's on page 6 precisely. Field queues return in Lagos State. And the writer says NNPCL blames a distribution hitch. And another writer says marketers say there is shortage in supply of fuel. Find details on page 21 of the Daily Sun. And this one says federal government, APC, link protest in Niger, Kano to opposition. And the writer says stop blame game, look for solutions. Labour Party tells ruling party APC. For details of the story, you find it on page 26 of the Daily Sun. This one says UBA appoints Mary Mulili Mohammed Alhaji Samora as MD CEO in Kenya and Sierra Leone. For details, check page 29 of the Daily Sun. Apprehension as hundreds of gunmen surround Niger communities. 3 killed, 65 abducted. Villagers flee in drones. For details of this story, you'll find it on page 4 of the Daily Sun. Just another abduction again, this time in Niger Delta communities. And another word here says, the Sun Awards will motivate, inspire us more. This is Komalafe and Azibaola speaking here. For details, check page 6 of the Daily Sun. That finally wraps it up on the front page headline of the Daily Sun newspaper.
And moving on to the Vanguard newspaper, the major story says protests over high prices, no food shortage in Nigeria. That's from the federal government. The statement is from the federal government, and the writer says, pleads with millers, major commodity traders, to make available what's in their stores. President directs committee to take immediate action to arrest situation. The last writer says, Tinubu returns from France. And the story can be found on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. Another story says, insecurity, Tinubu orders security agencies to curb criminal activities. This can be found on page 9. Moving on, Kogi tackles EFCC over 80 billion fraud charges against ex-governor Bello. And that's on page 4 of the Vanguard. Another story says, Edo Guber respects zoning principle Obaseki Oshiomole told. And that's on page 21 of the newspaper. Moving on, stabilizing Naira, task for all Nigerians. This is a statement made by Cardoso. And the writer says Nigerians spent $40 billion on school, medical tourism, 10 years. Another writer says arts relocation of some CBN departments to Lagos, not political. That's on page 5. And now to sports. It's going to be very tough against Nigeria. Tove. Osimhen now fit to play. This can be found on page 31 of the Vanguard. To another story, kidnapping. Police nab suspected octogenarian kingpin over Ekiti Kwara killings. And this can be found on page 6. Moving on, Labour protests at NAFDAC over ban on alcoholic beverages in sachets. This can be found on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. And that's all I can take on the Vanguard.
And with that last paper, the Vanguard newspaper, that wraps it up on a newspaper review segment. Right about now, we'll take a short break, and when we return, it will be time for us to look at our hashtags and our trends. So do stay with us. Some school of thoughts believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of democracy. Join us every Saturday by 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let us look at the issues confronting us as a nation. Together we talk heads. Nigeria can be great again. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. Keep it date.
What up, guys? How's your day going? How are you doing this? I want to believe that you're having fun, right? This bright and sunny day. You know that I want to see this duo.
Well, it's so glad to have you back. You're still watching U45 Morning Show. Right about now, like I told you earlier, the segment you've always been looking forward to, Ash Trends and hashtags, all of the gist. So let's know what's trending with Pat. Pat, what's trending? What's going on?
You know, there was this time that the government said medical students will have to serve Nigeria and they would try to make them not to leave Nigeria. Now, there's an interesting story from Mazi Dimpa. He tweeted, at official BAT, why this unfair treatment on hashtag nurses by your government? How can such presidential order be given just to stop licensed Nigerian nurses free movement and the right to practice anywhere in the world they want to? This is not the renewed hope you promised Nigerians. I mean, Nigerians call out to the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, NMC, over the deactivation of license portal for over 1 month. Now, another person says, how can at NMC Nigeria deactivate license verification portal for well over a month now and counting without prior written memo or sensitization of its members? Is this the strategy / route they want to apply to stop hashtag nurses from migrating?
Well, Pat, I'm not surprised. The way it is, people can continue to talk. The truth of the matter is the government has realized that most of our medical facilities are now lacking professionals. Most of the professionals, you are aware of what the rates is saying, at which many nurses and doctors are flying out of Nigeria. But the reason is not far-fetched. Is the home take is not encouraging.
Exactly.
The harsh economic situation is telling on everybody.
Exactly.
And here we are in an advanced stage where people are privy to informations here and there. They are aware of some of their colleagues that are out there.
And more.
You understand? And they are aware of what they are being paid. So it's only natural for you to seek greener pasture where you know you will get it. But I think this is the wrong way to go. And now you don't also blame the NMC because this is their acting on order or the directive
from above
by the government. Yes. Because the government is saying how they can stem the tide. How can they reduce the rate at which Nigerian nurses and doctors are living? If you get to most of the
embassies,
hospitals now, you find out that the good hands have already left. Just feel you have there. So how can government stop it? But I think that the solution should actually be how government can help to increase their pay. And this is a time where we're also saying
pay and incentives.
Pay incentives, exactly.
Yes.
And this is a time we're also looking at the national minimum wage. Not even you can't even buy you half bag of rice the way it is now, because half bag of rice is almost running to 70,000.
Remember the newspaper review about egg.
Egg
used
now,
to be
one egg.
One egg
For
It's
200
not-
naira.
200 naira.
I heard that. I read that yesterday, and I'm shocked. You know, I just thought in my head. I said, you know what? By the time the eggs start getting spoiled, they will understand that there's a harsh economic situation in Nigeria.
But do you blame these poultry farmers?
No, the feeds. The
Feeds are quite
chicken is
expensive.
Yes.
You know, so they have to think of the overhead cost and all that.
Well, let's also hope that this new committee set up by government, because from what we read, a government has already set up a committee for them to, push in more foods into the market
system.
as a way of reducing the prices or crashing the prices of these commodities. So let's see how.
But did the government need to wait till this point before pushing out this food?
But you know that you cannot rule that out when it comes to governance in Nigeria. If the citizens are not complaining, are you aware that even beggars are now complaining?
Yes, there was actually a protest
yes.
by the beggars.
That was in Niger State.
Yes, definitely.
Now even beggars in Kwara
have joined.
as I did yesterday, came out to say that Nigerians are not helping them again. A particular beggar said on a good day he makes 2,000 naira. He said, but right now it is difficult for him to even make money to eat. So what are we talking about? The people can actually give alms when they themselves are living well.
Definitely.
But when the people themselves are feeling the harsh economic situation, you then wonder why you will be given the money. Honestly, even me, there are beggars that give money in the morning. But these days, they'll just call me and I'll be like, oh, sorry, I don't have a change.
It's not your fault, my darling.
So that's the situation is telling on everybody. I just hope the government will be able to, tackle the situation headlong and on time.
Still on incentives, this story is quite interesting. Nigerian army locks up soldier in a viral video, he decried earning 50K and being unable to visit his family due to 70K
naira increase.
Yes, transport fare. If he actually is being paid well, he will not come to social media and then start crying. And now the government are not tackling this thing the right way.
Oh, well, you see, if you look at the story of the soldier crying out in a viral video,
yes,
I believe before he would come out and cry out in a viral video, he knows the background is coming from. He knows the military is highly disciplined.
Yes.
He knows that they are going to bring him out. But you see, it gets to a point where a man is pushed to the wall. He's going to bounce back. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
At the state he is, he does not care or whatever is going to happen to him. We are talking about his family. For God knows how long he's been unable to see his family members. And I think the right thing for government to do at this moment, instead of, picking this, for the Nigerian army to pick this man, I think what they should begin to do is how to consider a raise in the take home of these soldiers. These are the people that are even helping us, to combat the state of insecurity in the country. These are the people who go to the war front. And if they are not well paid, how much is 50,000 naira? Even workers are complaining about the national minimum wage of 35,000 naira as it is, because government also added, paid them 5,000 higher from that October to this very year. But the question is, if the soldier is complaining about 50,000 naira, government should also, and I think that these are the things that government should have considered before the fuel subsidy removal. Although from different quarters we still hear that the government is still secretly paying for a fuel subsidy. How true that is, only time will tell. But I think that this soldier should not be treated this way, because what this is going to have a ripple effect. And part of the effect is that a lot of soldiers might declare a war. You understand? They might have to leave because they look at what you have done to their colleague, that he's speaking out the truth. So for me, it shows that authorities in Nigeria, they don't like to be confronted with the truth. But the thing is, we cannot continue to fold our hands. They are people who are confident. They are people who, irrespective of what situation it is, they will always face the truth and tell truth to power. So I would commend this guy for coming out to say this, and I just hope that the military will also begin to push for increase in the salary of these soldiers.
Now, moving on. Kanayo says parents
That's our
should
guy.
inquire of the source of wealth of their children. And, you know, the rate at which youngsters are going into fraudulent activities is quite high.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Bible says, train a child in the way he will go, and he will not depart from it. Now, it's alleged that they even have parents' association for fraudsters.
Oh, well, I've been aware of that before now. This cyber crimes, this Yahoo Yahoo, in local terms, we call it Yahoo Yahoo. I have seen parents who go to the bank on behalf of their Yahoo Yahoo children to collect the funds for them, in order for the police not to suspect the young, their children. You know, the young minds, you always see them, the Gen Zs, you see the way they are very loud in their dressing. You just can't, if you're a good observer, you know that this person is likely to be involved in cyber crimes.
Fine.
All right? So right now, their parents always front for them. They go to bank and take money for them. So I think what Kanayo is saying is very important. I mean, it is timely because you see, there's no smoke. A child will begin to take into, commit all sort of atrocities without the parents knowing about it. Like they say, charity begins
because in the
at home.
good old days, you dare not come home with a pencil or eraser that's not yours. you get the beating of your life, either by mistake or intentionally. You go home with somebody's eraser or sharpener, you're in trouble.
Knowingly or unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
I was beaten black while I was in primary school when I helped my classmate to keep money. Unfortunately for me, I got home and my brother said, bring your bag. Because you cannot determine when they're going to call you. You come home and they say, submit your bag for stop and check. Permit me to use the word. And my brother checked my bag and he found, I can't remember the amount, maybe it was 500 then. And he was like, how come? He drove me to school the next morning to ask. I say it's Festus that gave me to keep for him. Eventually, we found out that Festus stole his mother's money. And that was how the guy was dealt with. But he wasn't dealt with alone. I was also beaten.
Yes, of course.
I was also beaten for helping him to keep money. But I did that, gullibly, so to say, our friends. And so if parents will go back to those days where we begin to check children, we begin to know the kind of friends they have, then I believe that we might be on the way to helping us solve this problem of cyber crimes.
Definitely.
And so this is about all we will take on hashtags and hash trends. Just this time, it's coming to an end. So right about now, we'll quickly take a short break for us to go into the discussion segment as our guest is standing by to talk to us virtually from the United States of America. So join us again. Well, it's so glad to have you back. You're still watching U45 Morning Show. Yesterday's our discussion segment in the area. You remember vividly in January, I think precisely January 7, a family was kidnapped in an estate in Abuja. Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, is one part in the 36 states of the Federation that a lot of people believe is a peaceful place. But today, Abuja itself cannot be said to be very safe anymore. Ransoms are being, of course, demanded by these abductors, and they continue to have a field day, which is now a source of concern to many Nigerians. And we are wondering, how long will this kidnapping continues without any sign of it abated? And now to say that Abuja is not safe is just an understatement. And now this kidnapping is now spreading. Just recently, 2 Obas were kidnapped in Ekiti State. Plus, students, primary school students, were also kidnapped. 2 of these Obas, in fact, 3 of them were abducted, but of course, 1 of them escaped, and 2 of them were killed right here in the country, Nigeria. The question is, who knows who will be the next? And in Lagos State, of course, kidnapping has been on the increase from 2023. You would agree with me. It is about the first chance. You call this, well, you call it one chance. Yes, you call it one chance. You bought a vehicle thinking they're going to drop you at your destination, and they just whisk you away, depossess you of your possessions, beat you even to the point of death, and still our security or operatives seem to be handicapped. It seems that their hands are tied, because the question many people are asking is, why be it that we cannot be proactive in this very country? We've even seen people who have come out to say that even the Nigerian police should be held responsible for kidnapping in Nigeria. Why do some people say this? They say that even the Nigeria police will will arrest you, detain you, and at the end of the day, they will tell you that bail is free. But what happens eventually? You end up paying, and this means that they arrested you without your consent. They just whisk you away, and at the end of the day, you have to pay ransom. And lots of revelations have come out in this regard. Today, we are looking at a spike in abduction in Nigeria. What are the possible solutions? Can we consider state policing as the immediate solution or long-term solution to helping us curb this very menace? We're now being joined by a security expert, former director of DSS, Dennis Amakri, who joins us from Texas, United States of America. Dennis Amakri, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, it's good to have you join us on U45 Morning Show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's quickly hit the nail on the head. Dennis, you are abroad right now. First, I would like to get your view about the state of abduction in the country. Can you also give us a background to what has led us to this present state?
Well, thank you for having me. The abduction case has come with us for so many years. Right from 2006, when people were abducted right from the South, and it moved on to Lagos, and from Lagos to other parts of the country. Boko Haram even picked it up. They didn't start it. They picked it up, and then, of course, we have foreign terrorists that came in. And they are now abducting people, using the money to take care of themselves, and they locate themselves inside the forests of north central Nigeria. So we have all these things going on. Why is it so, and why is it escalating at this time? And basically the escalation is because the Nigerian government did not do much at that time when it started. It didn't discourage people on, these abduction cases. And then, of course, that is fueled by the societal economic problems where you have poverty, unemployment, and many people come to see it as if you don't have a job and everything, you go and adopt somebody and then you start asking for millions and it will be given you because nobody is actually pursuing those bandits or terrorists who are demanding for money. If the government was discouraging people, before you do it, you think twice. Even armed robbery, that the consequences of armed robbery is death. At a time in Nigeria, if they catch you as an armed robber, you are even shot in public. The Babbage show. I don't know if you've heard of the Babbage show before, which we used to do in Lagos. Armed robbers are brought out to the Babbage and they were shot publicly. But now nobody cares and nobody is doing anything. So it emboldens them and they go ahead with impunity and do whatever they want to do.
You reminded me of that particular, that killing then. I can remember, those days, walking through the barracks, you see criminals, you gather there and you watch them being shot to death. And because of that, it makes a lot of people begin to have a rethink before thinking of engaging in criminal act. And now we have seen a situation where, let me use Ekiti as an example. In Ekiti, the two Obers that were killed, that were kidnapped and killed. Recently, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Dari Ogundari, said the suspect, Babusa Lide, confessed to his involvement in the killing of two monarchs, adding that efforts were on to apprehend others. My concern is, Dennis, why do you always, why do you think Nigeria police or our security agencies, why do they always wait until when an attack has been launched before then running after this kidnappers?
Okay, the structure of the police in Nigeria or the security is one that reacts. It reacts because they are controlled, by the presidency. Let me put it that way. They obey orders, so, and they are used, by the political class because they are not independent where they will now look at anything of national interest and pursue it. Even, for instance, let's take an example of EFCC. EFCC is anti-fraud or anti-crime agency that look at people with ill-gotten wealth or ill-gotten money. A boy who is about 18, 19, is driving Rolls-Royce car, which is very expensive. It is not that he stole the money. What they could do is to stop him, find out, investigate where he got the money, But right now, nobody talks about it. You see them going around with their friends and drinking and playing music, and when you see people like that, either one thing is the son of a big man, maybe a senator or somebody, or is a Yahoo boy, so to say. Even if it's Yahoo boy, find out, did he really get the money through Yahoo, or he's a businessman who has been able to, gather some money by himself, and that's the way he chose to spend it. So we don't. Some people who come up with sudden wealth, You know them last week and today now they are in plenty of money. These are the kinds of things that you will find out. Remember what you were saying when they check your bag, they find out 500 naira. And then, of course, they will say, where do you get it? That's how society was. The value system was very high. But now, people don't say anything to anybody. And then, of course, the kids are having a full day. And then, of course, the economic situation is so bad that even the parents are waiting to see whether the kid or the child can bring in some money, because you find out that some children who are stealing around, picking pockets, when they pick, they take it home and their parents are happy to receive it. So our society has gone down to the drains and we have to do something about it.
From moral values, which parents have to pay attention to, it's some quarters are saying that state policing will assist in curbing the rate of abductions. So what do you think, what are the valuable solutions to the problem of abduction in Nigeria regarding bringing in state policing?
Okay. Yes, let's not jump into state policing, because there are fundamental issues that are surrounding this particular situation. So, first of all, abduction. How do we stop it? You look at it and then you find out, number one, the economic situation in the country is so bad. So government has a job to do by making that economic situation better for people. That's number one. Number two, you find out that unemployment, that's also part of the economic situation whereby you try to make people to earn money to take care of their families, okay? And that is also there. Then when you look at the other side, how do you discourage? In security, we say deter. How do you deter people from going into all this abduction and kidnapping? One of them is to make sure that you punish the people that get involved in it. I'll still use Nike's example, whereby, if they catch you, you are not going free. They say, oh, okay, you've told us who gave you the money, so I go home. No, you also have your punishment. So they have to go ahead and punish somebody to discourage, to deter people from doing it, because people are sitting down there and say, oh, okay, Evans was a millionaire kidnapper. They pay him in dollars and, they've arrested him, but nothing is happening. For years, nothing is happening. They say, this thing is not a bad idea because nothing will happen, and they go into it and they continue doing it. So to stop people from perpetrating crimes like that, then you have to punish. There will be consequences. And when people know that there are consequences, they will not, get involved in it. And one of the ones that we could do is to restructure the security system. And when you are going to restructure the security system, you look at the police again, because crime is committed locally. Where you are is a local government area. Where anybody is a local. Where I am is a council area in the United States, a council. And that is like local government, And these councils have what we call sheriff. And if any crime is committed or anything is happening, the first responders to that crime are sheriffs. They will come down there. The university I went to has its own police. They call them university police. And if anything is happening in the dormitory or on campus, they are the first people to come. If they discover that the crime that is being committed, like somebody killed somebody, then it becomes a state crime. Because you see, crimes are categorized. There are some which are local government crimes, like if you go and park your car anywhere in the street where it is designated not to park here, that's a local government crime, you know, and the local government people will give you a ticket or sanction you for that. If you commit murder, then they will come and, of course, call in the state police. If you are selling marijuana to students on campus and the sheriff comes and they discover that, oh, now marijuana, and that is a federal crime, they will now call the FBI, which is a federal police, and those people will come and take care of it. So all of them have their own different responsibilities, and you can break it down to Nigerian situation.
Based on the words you have said and the need for corporates to be punished as a way to deter others who have criminal minds from, perpetrating such acts. What kind of punishment would you recommend at this point in time? That's number one question. Then number two, while you were talking, you said our society has gone down the drains, which automatically means that our values are being eroded. How do you think we should, we would return back to those old days where our parents, take a close look at the children and guidance, their words, to ensure that they end up being a kind of person that people or the society would identify with?
Okay, first of all, your first question is about... remind me, please.
What kind of punishment would you recommend for kidnappers and all other criminals? Okay.
Our laws are very clear. Our laws are very clear, where you have different laws. Like I said before, it was death sentence for armed robbery, and terrorism is also, the laws are there. But you find out that sometimes, many people say they are not terrorists. They are not terrorists. Don't put them as terrorists. They are just bandits. You know the difference. Bandits are a gang of thieves. Terrorists are people who carry guns and go and, attack the fundamentals of government. So, what does that tell you? Some people in government are supporting these people. President Jonathan has said it. Other people have said it, and even the action of government in the Buhari administration, that even United Arab Emirates sent a list of terrorist financiers to the government, and then the Attorney General said, oh, I'm going to publish it, and he didn't publish it. Why didn't he publish it? Because some people he know, or some people that are very close to him are on that list, and he did not. So you find out that there are a lot of problems. It has become complicated, whereby a lot of people who are supposed to stop this crime are also involved in it. Traditional rulers, in the north, you find out that religious leaders everywhere, get involved in it because of the money. It's what we call criminal enterprise. It's a criminal enterprise. There's a lot of money in there, and people are benefiting, And of course, it's one that even in Lagos, you see all these big churches. Instead of factories and manufacturing or work where people will go and work and everything, you are a Yahoo boy, or you are some kind of involved in some kind of crime, and you go there and the pastors are busy telling you that you must bring your tithe, and that's your easiest way to heaven and everything, and a kidnapper goes in there and then donates some heavy sum of money, and they give him a seat in front where he's going to be sitting down and, as an important person. So societal values are upside down. And as they are upside down, to stop it, we need a very serious rethink, reorientation. We have a government agency called the National Orientation Agency. As far as I'm concerned, they are just sitting down, they are earning their salary, they don't do anything. And the government have to really, really think about it, put somebody in there that will do what it's supposed to do. Orient the people towards the nation. Make people patriotic. Many Nigerians are not patriotic. Many Nigerians are busy looking for daily bread. So who worry about patriotism? So it is that problem.
Dennis, I'm sorry. I would like to quickly cut you there, and that is based on your submission on patriotism. When you say many Nigerians are not patriotism, don't you think the reason is not far-fetched? Because a lot of people, because if you want your citizens to be patriotic, then it will mean that even the government itself is sensitive to the plight of the citizens and is also patriotic about the nation. Because just how do you begin the conversation? How do you explain the fact that citizens of Nigeria, up until now, with the economic hardship, don't even get anything as a citizen, no stipend to support them, and the economy continues to bite harder on the people? And we say that the government does not want crime to be on the increase. Are we not deceiving ourselves here? Is it not government that is also encouraging the people to lack patriotism in the system?
You are very, very correct. Everybody is involved, so everybody is guilty. Guilty. And then, of course, the government takes much of the blame because the government is supposed to be the leader. They are supposed to lead us. So they will show example. The leader shows example. I'll give you an example. For instance, the whole of Nigeria has 1,000 naira. That's our money. 1,000 or let me say 1 million naira. Out of this 1 million naira, the government comes to say that, look, this 1 million naira is not enough for everybody. So we have to tighten our belt. So if we are tightening our belt, that means that you try, and if you are eating 3 times a day, eat once a day. So that we save something to take care of the whole country until things get better. But when we are all tightening our belt, we see that politicians are busy buying Land Cruisers for 160 million naira for one, And then when the man was challenged on the media, one of the senators was challenged on the media. He said that, oh, we need a strong car because the road is bad. Who is supposed to fix the road? The road is bad, and the person responsible for fixing the road have not fixed it, and then you are now buying a strong car to go and drive on that road so that the road will continue to be bad. So you find out that our value system is upside down. I keep on maintaining that because these are things, the examples are not shown. When people have not eaten for a day, they go to bed hungry, and then you find somebody who is driving by with a Range Rover fully air conditioned, and then of course they are standing at the bus stop, and it just rained, so you just carelessly drive through and pour water on everybody and drive away. These are wrong. And of course, the people doing that should watch, because you see, society will continue to get to this level whereby people will come out and then start to agitate. You know what happened in 2 days ago? Where was that? I know that there was a protest, and in Kano, and then the other place. So people are kicking. And I think any responsible government should look at this, because let government not be so let them not behave as if they don't know what is happening. Things are happening. And then, of course, you see some government officials who will come out and tell you, oh, there's no problem. There's no problem. It's just opposition, bad belly people just talking nonsense. They are saying it to butter the president. But the president should also know, because a Nigerian used to be an activist. The president used to be an activist. So he knows the bad things that happen in society. And the faster he addresses this thing, the better for Nigerians, because what Nigerians are asking for is, somebody to address these problems quickly so that society will get better.
Recently, there's this late Fela Anikulapo's son, Seun Kuti, was arrested based on the fact that he assaulted a policeman while driving. And, of course, he was taken to the cell in Panti. And he said there are two cells in Panti, cell 1 and cell 2. But, of course, I think cell 1 is where they put the notorious criminals. And he specifically said that when the Nigeria police went to throw him where the hardened criminals are being dumped, they thought they were, punishing him, but that they gave him room to see what is happening inside there. And part of the submission, he made observations that he got, is the fact that many kidnappers in that very cell, the ringleaders are always policemen, according to his statement. And he now bring it back, he narrowed it down to the fact that we have been talking about Evans and all that. At the end of the day, there seemed to be connection between the big cop we all celebrated, Abba Kyari, who was in charge of RRS then. Okay, was it RRS? I'm trying to remember the squad. Immediately, Evans his case was brought up. They went to, they arrested him, and the case, everybody celebrated that the notorious kidnapper has now been arrested. But up until now, we are yet to see where that case will end. And then again, the question again is, Evans, the alleged notorious kidnapper, is in cell right now. I mean, he's in prison. But this kidnapping is still not stopped. Instead, it is increasing by the day. And which now makes him conclude that there's no kidnapping that happens in Nigeria without the police having a knowledge of this. What do you make out of this?
Yeah, Evans is in prison, but kidnapping continues. I told you, it started before him. And it will continue to start after him. It will continue after him. Because, he didn't start it. So, forget about that one. The one that we're worried about is the involvement of police officers. Now, realize that police officers are Nigerians too. They go to the same market, they live in the same place where landlord is going to pursue them, even the barracks, Have you seen a police barracks? Pass through one. Just drive through as if you miss your way and pass through, and say you're asking for somebody and look at where police people live. Then you will know that we have a problem there. You don't take care of them, and then you think that they are police because they are policemen, they are angels sent from heaven. They are Nigerians, and they are going through the same problem. So it all zeroes back to the poverty level and the situation in the country whereby things should get better. If things don't get better, we will continue to find out that these things will get worse and worse and worse and worse, And we don't want to get to the breaking point, where things will be out of hand.
Dennis, so much has been said. You talked about NOA not doing enough. And we have also narrowed this challenge continuity to the high level of poverty in the land. And this is still what Nigerians are still battling with till now. How do you think governments can actually address this state of poverty? Because recently, in fact today, part of what we talked about in our hashtags and trends, the gist is that a particular soldier came out in a video that went viral saying that his salary is 50,000 naira. And the transportation fare for him to visit his home to see his family cost 70,000 naira. Rather than for the situation to be addressed appropriately, this soldier has now been, of course, arrested and, is behind bars with the military. Well, how do you see this kind of situation? And of course, this is the same thing every Nigerian is complaining about. And the people also helping us to go to the Sambisa forest. One of them is crying out to say his salary is not enough. And the next thing is that he's behind bars. Is that the way to go? And if not, give us your suggestion.
Of course, it's not the way to go. But again, I don't have the details of that arrest. I saw the video where the guy was, in fact, saying that his salary is 50, doesn't know how to get to his family. And of course, I also saw where some people were trying to donate money to him, because Nigerians are very nice people. I don't know about whether he was arrested by the military authorities and locked up or something like that. I will not be surprised because, there are procedures. Military people don't come to the press. It's not because of our social media days now, where you have even police or military come to start to talk. Even in the civil service, somebody working in the ministry cannot come and start to give a press statement. There are people who are designated as pressmen or spokespeople, and those are the people to talk because these are disciplined organizations. They call them disciplined organizations. You don't talk. So anyway, the cat is already out of the bag, whereby we now know that they are not well paid, and then of course their welfare is not taken care of, and that is a no-no. You have to take care of your forces. Here in the United States, if you see the way they respect soldiers, you want to go and join. You want to go and join because they are the ones that are safeguarding the country. They go even at airport, anywhere, at airport, before people will board. The first board, even before first class people will board, they will board the soldiers in uniform. They tell them, you can go and board. And when they are going to board, they will tell them, thank you for your service to the nation. And sometimes they even clap for them while they are boarding. That tells you, in fact, the soldier will be so proud that, hey, these people I'm dying for really respect me, And that one does not have anything to do with salary. It has to do with respect. And they will board anytime they are in uniform, and people, you go to anywhere, even go to a store to buy something, and they'll say, oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Here we don't care. So we have to start thinking about how to take care of our fighting forces and our policemen.
Because of time, Dennis and Makri, I would want us to quickly look at a lasting solution, either short term or long time. Do you think that state policing is actually an option to be considered at this point in time by government? If not, tell us basically what you think would suffice at this moment to help us curb increase in kidnapping.
Well, Nika, you know that I've been an advocate. I have been an advocate of state police. I've always advocated for it because crime is committed locally. crime is committed locally. And if it is committed locally, it has to be handled locally. So you find out that, if we don't have police to cover all the localities, what we now call the ungoverned spaces, there are bandits, terrorists from foreign countries inside Nigeria, occupying ungoverned spaces, and these spaces are inside the country. Ungoverned spaces because there is no law enforcement there. There's no law enforcement. So why don't you put law enforcement in the area? And then, of course, if crime is being committed, people in the locality, they know who is a policeman and they know who is a criminal. And then, of course, they will tell the security people or the policeman that, see, that man a thief. Even in the village, the thieves are known. The thieves are known. They will say, that guy, some people will tell you, don't move around with that boy, he's a thief. They are known. So you can easily, if police is near to the people, they can now take care of it. So you don't have the present structure we have in Nigeria, where the police inspector general is in Abuja, and then of course go to different kinds of the country, and then you discover that even a policeman from Kano State, is sent to Calabar. Number one, he does not know the terrain, he does not know the environment. So he has to learn what is happening. But if you have state police and these people are from the locality, they know each other, they know the father of the police and his mother, they know them, and he is there to enforce laws, I think it's a better deal. And I think that's what exists all over the world. People know them, and then they keep to the laws that form them, and society will be better.
Say a very big thank you to you, Danisa Makri, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on how you think we can best tackle kidnapping, which is on the rise in our country, Nigeria. I do have a beautiful day.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. All right, viewers, we have been speaking to a security specialist, of course, the former director with DSS, Dennis Makri. And of course, we're looking at spike in abduction in Nigeria. What are the possible options for government to consider? And in his submission, he has said that it will be right for government to embrace what they call a state policing, which is what a lot of people have been advocating from the past. We only hope that this will help us curb the situation in such a way that Nigerians can begin to sleep with their two eyes shut. And right about now, we will take a short break. Of course, we are gradually rounding up the program. But of course, this time, Joel Wakego is standing by to give us all of the updates in sporting world. So join us again. Yes, you're still watching U45 Morning Show, and it feels good to have you back. Yes, today Nigeria will be playing AFCON 2023. I can't wait to watch that match. Well, for more details about 2023 AFCON, here is Sporting Joel Nwankego with all of the details. Sporting Joel, what's happening with this?
A lot is happening.
Buffet, how do they call it?
No, I didn't kill an elephant. I killed a lion. Obuago. Yes. Anyways, welcome to U45 Sport Train. Yes, Nigerians are happy, but some couple of days ago, Nigerians are not happy because we got a message that Osimhen won't be playing the game today. He had some stomach upset, food poisoning, and all that. Him and 5 other players, but thank God he's fine. He's back in training. So Osimhen will be in the game today. You guys should just relax. I think it's a big respite for Nigerians and other players.
I think they deserve to be applauded.
Yeah,
for Osimhen to be there. But one thing that is that I'm worried about is the fact that these days you read a lot of writers. They're now celebrating Lookman because he's the best goal scorer.
Yeah, he has 3 goals in the tournament. Yeah,
3 goals. But then I think you see, this is where we Nigerians always encourage our players to be selfish while on the field. We always forget that it is a teamwork, and what works there is team spirit. So why you want to be singing the praises of one person because he nets the goal, then what happens to those
the person that
who
gave him
are
the
the
assist?
ones? You understand? You know, but I just think this area should be discouraged. All kudos should be given to the team and all of them that worked out, the goal.
Like you rightly said, it's a teamwork. Sometimes when you get a chance to score and you give to your teammates, what's important is getting the goal and winning the game. That's what's important. Anyway, they had a pre-match conference and the coach said he has what it takes to win the AFCON. And even the South Africans, they believe they can outsmart Nigeria in today's game because they have about 9 players playing the same team in South Africa. So that makes them really, really compact. When you have about 9 players, that play that trade day in, day out, week in, week out. Now it's an advantage for them.
It's going to be tough.
It really is going to be really, really tough. And the coach said, the last time Nigeria won the AFCON was in 2013. He's going to repeat that feat, with Osimhen, the likes of Olaino and all that. But I believe they might just get the victory today.
Well, let's just be hopeful. I'm so optimistic because at least a lot of people didn't really have that confidence that Nigeria will get to this semi-finals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for them to get here, I think it shows that they have determination. It shows that the coach is doing a good job.
Yep.
And I believe that if they go together, as one, as a team, there's a high, tendency that we might just bring home the trophy.
Exactly. And also, DR Congo filed out against Ivory Coast later today by 9 p.m. And the DR Congo, these guys, they qualified going to the round of 16 without winning a game. It was draw all through, just 3 points. They got to the round of 16. They knocked out Egypt via penalties and also took out Guinea 3-1. And right now they're in the semi-finals. This is a team that have Wissa, one of the best strikers in this tournament, plays for Brentford in England. And also DR Congo, for Ivory Coast, they have a couple of good players. Frank Kesse, that plays in Saudi Arabia. And you have Sebastian Haller from Borussia Dortmund. But we'll find out who wins the game and get to the final spot alongside, the result from Nigeria and South Africa. Now you have a chance of winning the recharge card powered by Super Screen Television. Just give me the scoreline of today's game.
Well, today's game is going to be 2-1, I predict, in
2-1
favor
Nigeria.
of Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes.
Where are you drawing your conclusion from?
Well, I know that the second team, they are very strong.
Okay.
But I believe, based on the performance of our team of recent, and even if you read what the comments of people, you realize that indeed Nigerian team are really the Super Eagles.
Exactly.
So I
They're
believe
going to fly really high
Eagles,
today.
they're going to tramp them underfoot, man.
Now
So
somebody said,
I'm waiting for my recharge
okay,
card.
no problem. Now Bayana means the boys.
Okay.
Now somebody said the men are playing the boys. Bayana means the boys. Now Nigeria, Super Eagles playing against the boys.
You see what we are talking about?
Okay.
It's just superlative, comparative. So I believe that Super Eagles, they're really going to be super. I mean, why would they even give themselves Bafana?
Yeah.
Boys. It means that they are not projecting into the future to know that the boys will end up being
They're supposed to be men.
They should be men, but maybe Bafan men.
Anyway, you heard it back there, performing. Well, we're just wishing the Super Eagles the best and wish them victory in the game later today, 6 p.m. The Super Screen will surely bring the game live to your doorstep. And that's it for sports for today. And thank you very much for having me.
All right, a very big thank you to Sporting Joel Nwakego. I must say that I really have a nice time on the program today, and I hope you also enjoy this very edition. And here is also joining Sporting Joel Nwakego to wish Super Eagles of Nigeria the best of this very game. We're looking forward to seeing you raise the trophy, and we're saying stand up, stand up for the champions. For the champions, stand up. Well, that's it on the U45 Morning Show. This is where we draw the curtain. Many thanks for watching. Remember to join us tomorrow for another beautiful edition. And on behalf of the production team, led by Sam, Eze, Tayo, I'm trying to remember everybody now, talking about Ahmed Adedigba and, of course, Ake Faboro. You guys are fantastic. Let's do it again. And that's it. Many thanks for watching. I'm Adinke Weye Ajiboy.
I'm Joel Nwakego.
And from all of us, have a beautiful day.